In this video, we're going to discuss about the client configuration. So now till now we have already discussed how to set up a server which logically creates one secure boundary, right? So we have discussed about domain, that is how to set up this domain. In the server operating system, workgroup of server operating system, first we install Active Directory domain services, which then becomes a server called as domain controller and which logically forms a secure boundary, right, called as domain. So whatever name we have given for the server, example zoom.com, that will be the name of the complete domain. Now who are going to be part of this particular domain? How are you going to make the devices to be part of this particular domain? Now let us take an example that in my network, now I still have some more workgroup systems, right? So all these are having IP addresses. Assume this IP is 10.1 and the preferred DNS, this we have already discussed, 10.1. Now the IP is 10.2, 10.3, 10.4, 10.5. And these are of different operating system, XP, Vista, or we'll take the latest operating system, 7.0 Vista, and 2003, 2008. So all are workgroup, all these four systems are workgroup, only this is a server. Now what we want these systems to be part of the domain. So now, here if I have a user account, will that user be able to log into any of these systems? No. The reason is they are still workgroups, they have their own database. They are not logically connected to this server database, so they can't identify this particular user information, right? So that is the reason we need to logically form these systems as part of this particular domain. So whenever I am logically connecting workgroups of client operating systems, so here you can observe that I have two client operating systems and two server operating systems. So if I am logically joining a workgroup of client operating systems to the domain, we call them as clients. The actual terminology, clients. And whenever we are joining workgroups of server operating system, logically when we are joining the workgroup of server operating system to the domain, we call them as member servers. So what is the difference? Why there is a difference in the terminology? We did the same thing. This is the workgroup system, these are all the workgroup systems. Logically we have joined all the systems to the domain. And now all these are become the part of this boundary. But why these systems are called as clients and why these systems are called as member servers? What is the difference between client and member server? Whenever we just discuss the difference, see here the main difference is operating system difference. And based on operating system, the features that are going to be made available. See, we discussed in the earlier videos like the server management can be centralized or decentralized. That is, you can put up the complete configuration just in a single server, or you can reduce the load by configuring some of the server services in a separate server. So for that purpose only we are configuring these member servers. So for user wise it will be the same whether the user is logging into a client or member server. But in the real time, we are not going to give the member servers for the user configuration, user purpose. Because we need to have the license for each and every operating system, and whenever it comes to server operating system, it is going to be expensive, so only if it is required we need to configure. Now, member server, the use is only for the administrator. If at all admin wants to maintain some of the survey services separately other than the domain controller, we need this member server. See, we know that DNS is required for our Active Directory services. Right now, the DNS is also available. Suppose in future we want to set up DNS server separately. We can just do that in a member server but not in a client. That's the variation. Some of the server services can be configured in the member servers which is not possible with your clients. Okay? So clear? So the difference between client and member server is OS and the features that are going to be available based upon the operating system. So now the configuration for the client or the member server, the steps are all one and the same, whether it's XP or 2000 or Vista or your 2008, whatever is maybe the operating system. Whenever you want to logically make them as part of the domain, the configuration is going to be the same. Now let us assume that we have the servers and we have the clients. Now we'll move on to another concept called as the user management. So now we are familiar with the server and client configuration. Now every one of us know how to set up a server. By installing Active Directory services, this becomes a server, and the name, whatever name you give for the server, will be the name of the complete domain, and these are going to become the clients, right? All these are clients, and this is your server. Now you have the server and client, but who's going to access? Users. So in these users we have two types: local users and domain users. So local users are nothing but the users which are configured in the local database. That is, generally in the workgroup system will come across, we'll just create these user accounts. And where can these users log in? They can log in only in the system where the account has been created. So where all can we create local users? See, I have a workgroup systems. This is my workgroup system, and this is my server, and this is my client, and this is my member server. I have 4 systems here. Now can you tell me, like, where all can we create? We can create the local users in the workgroup system, but not in the server, because server means it's going to be a completely server database. Whereas clients and member servers we can still create, because you are joining the workgroup systems as part of this domain. So they are going to have the local database as it is, but they are also going to access the domain database. So they have the local database as it is. So even in these clients and member servers, we will be able to configure the local users. But why not in the server? Because that completely is going to be a server database. There will not be any local database anymore in that system. So you can create a local user either in a workgroup, directly a workgroup system, or a client, or a member server. But where can they log in? That is, they can log in only in the system where the account has been created. So for example, if I have 100 systems, and if I want the user to log into all 100, in every system an account has to be generated. But if at all we are working in a domain environment where we want to manage everything from the server, then we will be going for another type of users called domain users. So domain user means it's a user which is created, configured, we can say, in the domain database. What is our domain database currently? Active Directory database, right? So if at all we are configuring the user account in the Active Directory database, we call that user as a domain user. So here we are going to configure that user information. Okay. So where can these users log in? These users can log into any of the system in a domain. So very clear that these users can log in only in the logical boundary. And we should not say that the domain users can log into any system in the network. The complete meaning changes, because if we have any systems, workgroup systems in our network, will the user be able to log in? No, because it's a local database. So the domain user can log in only in the system which is part of this particular domain.